Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. Let's jump into the queue. And we have Spectral Wave, a frequent opponent. What's the deal here? I gotta imagine Ferret Sack's gonna be pretty cool with, like Hannibal or Omega or both. I don't know. Didn't we have a Hannibal rush with Ferret Sack game against Spectral Wave some time ago? Like, can you get Omegas? They seem pretty alright. There's good Absorb and good Soak, and like there's Doom Drones. Well, I mean, not good Soak, but okay Soak. Very large Soak. And there's Doom Drones to like, that helps everything really. You can also get Omegas without committing to a ton of blue, right? You get like a Blast Forge and an Animus and just like buy double Thermites for a while. I think that it's a sort of high-ish econ game, and I'm gonna get the Doom Drone here. I would not be too surprised to see Feral Wardens be what my opponent goes for, which I think is the strongest punish to someone trying to go high econ. So we're gonna do this. I'd like to get a relatively early Animus. Because we need those Ferret Sacks. Although... Hannibal can, like, defend me for quite a while, right? Not that long, I guess, but a little while. The opponent also wants high econ. They just wanted to get the Animus a bit faster. They'll be able to get the first Omega this way if they want. But they're going to be a bit shorter on drones, I think. I don't know, maybe they were right. It's so important to get the Animus in a hurry, and you can't afford to build that many drones on the way there. Right, I can build like a splitter next turn to defend against the Omega they're threatening to soon build. Yeah, that seems okay. Interesting Tarsier. I had expected more Ferretins because I think just pouring out Omegas is a good thing to do for a while. The Tarsier makes it easier for them to like get to 7 damage against a Hannibal, but I wasn't really planning to do that anyway. I don't think it would be very good. Yeah, this seems okay. Are they getting a second Blast Forge to get their second Omega, or are they just not getting 2 Omegas? Well, I do feel behind in like getting attack. But I don't know, the opponent isn't getting a second Omega just yet. What are they doing next turn? That's weird. I assume they're clicking Omega here. Probably not something weird like Wall Hannibal, so... When they click Omega, they do kill 2 of these. I might prefer to get... this. Honestly though, Conduit's kind of cool for like Ferals someday. I think that's not realistic. I already have a lot of tech. Kinda. Maybe I overdid it with these NGs. On the other hand, I can buy a lot of Doom drones. That could be pretty cool. I don't know if I was going to be able to click this splitter, honestly. This seems pretty cool. Doom drones are OP. I mean, they're getting Tarsiers as well, which is probably better than just Omegas, right? Like, I don't know. I have a lot of drones. That's my plan. Have drones. And that's probably the last set of Omegas that I need here. I mean, I guess I can keep this guy. He's not really useful to attack with or whatever, but yeah, okay. I guess that's true, because I am gonna attack for a bit. Although, aren't you holding too many? Like, maybe 2 would be a bit better for you? I'm not really gonna attack for 6. I'll probably attack for just 4, honestly. This is awkward. Let's get this. And just some rhinos? Actually, all of this attack does nothing, right? So, like, let's hold the splitter back, and then maybe I can just sack the splitter. Honestly, though, rhinos are probably still better. Hold the Omega, too. I mean, I'm not gonna sack him, but... his attack wasn't killing anything. I guess it's probably right for you to click the Omega here. I don't know. It kills some damage. Yeah, the rhinos both die, which is kind of a bummer. This blast sword is probably better because then I can like wall in the future. Man, it's so greedy to be continuing to click all these Omegas. Can you really do this? This Hannibal might have been a little too early, because they can sort of deny me some value by clicking Bull and then attacking for less than a total of 12, especially if I hold back Doom Drones as well. But on the other hand, maybe I can use this to let me click the Omega. Right, because they only have 7, 8, 11 like guaranteed damage, and if they can attack for less than 14, they're denying me some value. Oh, I don't need to hold this because they're losing one rhino. They could choose to absorb onto the rhino, I suppose. I'll take that risk. They kill my wall in exchange for like losing a bunch of stuff, and they still have to manage to attack with everything to do it. Like, isn't this kind of hard? Is this really worth it? It's sort of hard to believe. Right, by doing this, you killed my wall, but you like lost some absorb. You're losing money by holding drones, or losing actual drones if I can manage to kill them. Here they can attack for 7, 8, 9, 12. They have about 12 like actual for real attack. So I think they could deny me some value if I tried to hold the Omega. So instead, I'm gonna just actually attack with everything I've got. Is there some way I could do that while still getting this guy? Not easily. I'd really like another Hannibal. But I think it's worth doing this to, like, kill all these drones. Like, I didn't really want to hold the Omega back anyway that turn. I can't quite buy a Hannibal, huh? I'll just buy some rhinos. Seems okay. I should have held back a rhino. What was I thinking? I believe I gave them, or maybe some kind of good value there, although I'm not sure exactly. I think I had an exploit by holding rhinos. I'm glad to be able to get back to the Hannibal train here. I feel good about my spot here. Being up 10 drones and similar damage numbers is pretty cool. I'm down Hannibal supply, which is a big deal, I think. I don't know. So they have 8, 11, 12-ish, like, guaranteed attack. So this actually is fine. Yeah, you know, they can't really exploit the Hannibal Omega business. And we get a slight exploit by not clicking the Hannibal for what that's worth. And they don't have a Hannibal coming up next turn, which is also a pretty big deal. So what's the deal here? They're going to attack for 8, 11, 12. Maybe only 11 if they hold this back. It's not a huge deal. Yeah, this seems fine. I guess I was thinking they'd hold back the Rhino instead of the Splitter, since it costs stamina. But I guess the health is what matters. More than the stamina, because the game's not going to last for enough turns that the stamina is relevant. Okay, another game against Spectral Blade. Came out pretty good on this one. Mostly, I guess, because of economy. I don't know. I think that it was reasonable to get just 2 NGs and get the Animus faster, and then switch into more drones, because you get that first Omega pretty early. On the other hand, you don't really have enough drones to use all of this tech. Right? If you want to be buying Omega and Ferret and Sack, and like I think you still want to be buying Doom drones, you kind of want around 20 income, maybe a bit more. And this just was not quite enough. I guess you want more than 20, right? Because you want to buy Omega is 15, 2 of these guys is 17, and like 3 Doomies ideally is like 23. That would be a good turn. This was just a little bit too low econ, I guess. I maybe built Ferret and Sacks a little bit too long. The third Omega was pretty hard for me to get, and I maybe shouldn't have tried so hard for it. Right, it cost me losing these Rhinos. The 2 Tarsiers are also not great, like maybe they should have been Rhinos. We weren't really doing any damage yet though, so I think Tarsiers were okay. And it also let me get the rest of the Doom drones. And I think the second Blast Forge made a big difference as well. Being able to get Hannibals was a way to exercise my superior economy, right? I think also that like I don't understand. Well, let's look how much damage. Like when did I start doing enough damage that Doom drones would have gotten actual value? Only on turn 10. So right about here. Okay, so here I did what, 8? Yeah. But this turn, I think my opponent could have done better to hold back some Omegas. 1 Omega, rather. It's guaranteed to get value, and you don't have to build these walls. You can build another attacker. Now, you know, the Omega Click did kill my Rhino, but is that really such a big deal? I don't think so. I would prefer to hold it back and just like get more attack instead of this wall. And as I said during the game, this first Hannibal was a bit awkward, since I kind of want to be holding back my Omegas, but I also don't want to be in a position of absorbing for 14, right? Where all my opponent has to do is attack for 7, and any more damage than that is irrelevant to them. They get some good exploits by holding back an Omega and Rhinos and so on. So instead I attacked with the Omega and offered this small gambit. I did not really think my opponent would be able and willing to absorb on Rhino, attack with everything, and rebuild defenses. It really was a huge imposition, and I think it was an error to take the gambit. You were in bad shape anyway, but this made it worse. You know what they say, like whoever buys the most Doom drones wins the game, right? It came true this time. And just, you know, at this point having more, not more of everything, but more drones and similar attack numbers made a big difference. Okay, let's try to get in a second game. Oh, we're matched already with Skeptal. Septal? I don't know how to pronounce this name. God, I never know how to play Vi. There's no red sync here, though, which suggests that if there's something else you could do other than Vi, you might prefer that. Sentinel Electivore is, like, sort of a thing? The other option looks like Redeemer to me. to build Sentinel Electivore every turn, you need like 11 drones and a conduit and an Animus. And it would be nice to have walls as well, and then you'd have like 16, but that might be a bit much. Just Sentinels and like one Rhino to absorb or something like that. So maybe, yeah, DD, DDC, DA. Yeah, I think I like the Sentinel Electivore idea, although I'm not like that sure about how to build it. The nice thing is that both of the reasonable plans start with the conduit, I guess. I don't think Reservoir sees any play here. Vi seems extremely bad against Vors and Sentinels since you don't even have anything worth freezing. So I think it's really a question between like red-green or blue-green. I don't know. DA, I'll have 12 drones and $14. You can build like TTDB. Not, you don't want TTDD, I guess. Maybe T1DD? What does my opponent get first? This is a big, interesting decision. Red. So I guess what's coming next is TTC from my opponent, or perhaps T1C. Probably T1C gives me the most trouble. I'm at 12 drones. I would have to get like 4 more to be able to really buy a Blast Forge. It's a little bit hard to believe. My opponent doesn't have green yet. I assume they're getting it this turn. I don't know, I think I'm pretty much locked into this idea. I mean, I'm not. I could have gotten blue instead, but I don't think it would be good. Whoa! That's committing a bit faster than I expected. And they have 12 drones, so they can do this, but I'll be killing some engineers? Like, isn't that sort of a problem? I don't need the engineer exactly this turn, but it would be nice to have the next turn, so... Not building a Sentinel. Isn't the whole point of this that, like, Sentinel's pretty cool? Oh. Not that, thank you. This Tarsier just seems extremely slow for the plan that you had. And this attack turns off 1 Vor, so you're only attacking for 4? Sorry, 5. Which means this defends, and it has... an engineer from the Sentinel, so this means I can add 1 more. That pressure should be pretty serious, and this Rhino will defend next turn. Just confirm there's not some way they can lose no attack, right? If they absorb on Rhino, they're losing an NG. If they don't absorb on Rhino, they're losing a Rhino. Okay. What? Really? Don't I just breach and win here? So they can indeed attack for 5, which means to keep my Vors firing, I need to buy 1 more NG. Or I could force field and buy another Vor. This way I get to keep 2 Vors and 2 NGs, gaining a 3rd, and then I can attack with everything still. Why did I buy a Rhino? It was because I bought it before the force field, and I was going to need it to defend. But with the force field, this Rhino... Oh, right! Because I want to over-defend the engineers. I'm so great at this game that I did it without even realizing. Haha. Okay, so here you do get to keep everything firing. But it's still only 5, right? So... defend onto the Rhino. We're over defending by 3, which keeps all the engineers. Plus 1 more means I can add another 4, right? Now the Sentinel defends, so 4, 5, 6. Sure. What exactly do I do with this tempo? It'd be cool to get another Sentinel, but that's a bit slow and it wastes some red. And I need another NG anyway, right? Well, given that, I can't actually spend both my red on real attackers. I could build 2 Tarsiers, but I don't think that's such a great plan. Another Sentinel's probably okay. Did they hold back an attack? I thought I was losing an NG somehow. They did hold back an attack, okay. This... I guess they're over-defending by 2 engineers, which means absorbing on the right... Oh yeah, okay, so... They get to keep 2 NGs and they're buying a 3rd, so everything fires here. They have 7. I keep 1 NG. 1 more is coming in, so I want a Rhino. Now I'm keeping 3 and 1 is coming in. Honestly, another Rhino's probably fine. What are the Rhino supplies like? Yeah, pretty low. Maybe instead of Rhino, I could have like built Force Field Vor. That doesn't seem that great. We want a Rhino, I think. They are keeping everything firing. This Rhino means we're over defended by 1 NG. Meaning we need 2 more. I could force field, but NGs are good enough. Wow, that Sentinel is pretty bold. Now here, they are still firing everything, so I probably need like 2 force fields and an NG. I don't super need the NG, but what else am I gonna do with my money, right? Actually, I might be able to do something with it. Since I have all this tempo from Rhinos next turn, I could maybe build like Rhino Vor or something next turn if I float the money, and I don't think I'll need it to defend. Yeah, Sentinel and all these Rhinos. Yeah, I don't need an NG next turn. This Rhino could be a Vor, but then I can't absorb on it, so no thanks. So 4, 7, are they... They are attacking for everything still. So 4, 5, 6... No, 4, 7. Okay, I just lose 2 Rhinos. Sentinel onto both Rhinos, so... I still have all my NGs. Well, I guess I just get a Sentinel. I'm a bit jealous of my opponent's Tarsier. Do I need this NG next turn? No, so why build it? I don't know, maybe I didn't. That's cute. That's why I should have built it. Because they can do this. Yuck. Well, I mean, obviously I can do this and not absorb. But I think a Rhino is worth... A 2 health Rhino is worth more than an enemy. I'm just like... missing a damage here because I got, like, greedy, maybe? Can I do this? They're attacking for... Actually, hang on. I can do the same thing to them. Yeah. Well... Yeah, they want to lose the Sentinel. So I'll be still attacking for 8. That's 6, 7, 8. This is fine. 6, 7, 8, and I'll still have 5 NGs. This attack causes them to lose 1 engineer. So they're attacking for just 5? Which means I'm keeping 3 NGs alive. I'd rather keep... Well, actually, this is enough. You keep 3 NGs, buy 2 more. Yeah, I don't have to build a second force field just yet. Why are we buying all these NGs so early? They don't seem needed yet. Alright, this 7 attack is 4, 6, 7. Well, maybe you just want to defend with them next turn, right? So anyway, they're still attacking for the full 6. Means I need 2, well, maybe just 1 force field defense. 3 and 3, yeah, this is alright. This 6 is 4, 5, 6, so they're clearly firing with everything. Oh, but I have this, right? 4 and 1. They can hold a Rhino to exploit if I don't buy an Engie here. So I'll just get another Vor to make the Engie actually like threaten to attack. Sure. By holding the Rhino, they punish this, right? And I don't get to attack with the Vor. Or I have to lose... I guess I can make either one. I can make us both lose 1 health or not, right? I think I'd rather we both lose 1 health. So this 6 is 4, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they're still attacking with everything. That's 6, 3, 3. So this is about right. Sure. I have a lot more green, I think, is going to be pretty important. And I've been able to hang on to my drones for just a tiny bit longer. 6 is losing 1 Engie. They fire with everything. I'm keeping 3 Engies, but I need more than that. The number more that I need is 3, so I guess Force Field Engie does it. They're keeping everything. Oh. What did I miscount? Whoops. Okay. Oops again, I guess. So 5 is losing 4 Engies. So if I do this, what exactly happens? I lose this onto this. I keep 3, 5 Engies. I'm still not attacking for everything this way. Doesn't this help more? I keep 5 Engies, and this is a 6th? Okay. This is the same shortcut I took last turn in calculating my damage, and it didn't work. Not sure what's happening. So this depowers 3 Vors. They're attacking for just 2. I guess I'll just build a force field. They're attacking for... okay. 12.2, that's sizable. Wow, long game for one of these like red rushy things. Sentinel will do that, I guess, even with Electrovore. This is like the most gradual decline into oblivion that I've seen in a while. Both players just sort of, what's the word for, like, stepping softly, right? There's a word for that. I don't know. Okay. Fine. We'll watch the replay, of course. I think red firsts for my opponent is perfectly reasonable. In sets with like Electrovore or Grimbotch, where you've decided to red rush, I think top players are still divided on like, you want to spend 8 and 2 red. Do you get TT, T1, or 1-1? And it seems like the kind of thing that depends on the set, but you know, a lot of those sets are fairly similar, and so you can sort of say, well, most of the time I'd prefer whatever. And there's arguments in favor of all of the approaches. I'm usually a T1 kind of guy, although sometimes TT if I believe my opponent wants to go blue. Like, that's pretty cool. My opponent went 1-1, which sort of made it awkward for me to ever get a Tarsier. Tried to sneak in this Tarsier here. I don't know. It did get a lot of value eventually. And you couldn't have actually built a Vor that attacks unless you Force Field? No, because you can't even use a Force Field this turn, right? Your only real defense is NG into Rhino. So, I don't know. Tarsier's first might have been better, but then I wouldn't have had to build this Rhino. I could have built, like... yeah, I don't know. So this whole game was like a... just kind of trying to tactically grind out the other guy. And... I'm not sure what exactly either of us did that made this big difference. Clearly we each made some mistakes. Here I got to turn off a Vor, which is pretty cool. But my opponent really wanted to get out of Sentinel, so okay, I guess. And then there was this breach, which seems like a big mistake as well, since it's not that hard for me to take it. Here I snuck in a third Electrovore. Okay. The thing is, my opponent could have punished this in the same way that I was punished later for sort of awkward granularity. If you attack for 4 here, holding back the 1 stamina Rhino, you sort of generate some free damage. Right, I have to either lose Force Field Rhino and not absorb to keep attacking, or Force Field NG and not get to attack this turn. You give up 1 damage this turn, but it was Rhino damage, which you can cash in whenever you feel like it. Whereas I lose 1 Electrovore damage, which is supposed to be a limitless supply, and so losing 1 of it is sort of like permanent. You trade damage this turn for damage next turn, whereas I just lose damage this turn, and that's it. I don't ever get it back. So that would have been... I left myself vulnerable here by trying to sneak in this third Electrovore. What could I have done instead? I mean, I could have just built another engineer and let's say a Tarsier. It's pretty dang slow. But it does guarantee that I have the NGs I need. And 2 turns from now, I'll get that extra damage. And I get to keep the drone as well, and the green, so that's kind of cool. That might have been a better try. I got away with it here because my opponent didn't find the play to punish. But I should have noticed that I was offering such an exploit. I guess the other thing I could have done was take this same play but hold a drone. And then if the opponent does attack for just 4, I can lose force field drone Rhino. You don't typically want to like lose drone to save NG, but when drone's generating $1 per turn and NG is generating an attack per turn, that's a pretty good trade. On the other hand, it's like you have to give up the drone's gold this turn to get it, as well as on future turns, right? So, I don't know. NG Tarsier might have just been better. How did the Rhino supply? Like, I ran out of Rhinos eventually. I think my opponent probably did too, but I didn't pay attention. These Sentinel off turns, I feel like, are kind of... They're not exactly deciding points of the game, but they're pretty meaningful. What you decide to do when you have a turn to breathe, right? On these turns when you're firing the Sentinels and you're firing the Rhinos and the Vores, like, there's not a lot of clever stuff you can do. We found a couple spots where you can exploit for 1. And, you know, in a red game like this, that's a lot, exploiting for 1. You know, sure, find those. But overall, your play on the turns when you're just barely defending is more or less fixed. You might miss the best play, but there's like clearly one best play. And your objectives are relatively clear. What you want to do with the turn is well known. Keep the Vores firing and defend. On these turns when you have a Sentinel lying around, you have much more flexibility about what to do. You can decide, do I want to extend the game like with another Sentinel? Do I want to try to finish things off with double Rhino or like NG Vor? Or try to squeeze in a Tarsier, right? This tempo lets you do a lot of different things. And we mostly were deciding, like, I want more Sentinels. But this is an important decision point in the game where, like, you could do something else, I think. Here was my opponent finding that exploit. Well done. What did I do? I decided this time to... Wait, did he find? No, this is totally a defense that I wanted. Maybe... Oh, I bought this extra... I don't know. Did that already happen? Maybe it already happened. I don't see my opponent holding back any Rhinos yet. Here, holding one back to defend on. Okay. When was this play? Here? No? I don't know. It happened eventually. Okay, well, whatever. We sort of like just spiraled down into Nowheresville here. And the tiny little advantages that I was getting by not having to force field so much added up. You know, getting more Vores, which are more efficient generally than Tarsiers. So, did my opponent run out of rhinos? No, they actually had one left. This clearly speaks to a degenerate game that, like, it ends with just nothing but Vors and NGs. You don't... Even in Vor games, you usually pick up a Tarsier or two. My opponent didn't really make that easy for me, so... Alright, I guess that'll do it for this game and the episode. Ticket complete. Very exciting. Get out of here. Alright. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.